Phillip and was with him a great deal of the time in Lancaster as a captive for 11 weeks. She reported that when the Indians came back from the Sudbury battle, she knew it was the Sudbury battle. They came back as if as whipped dogs with their tails between their legs, because what they were searching for was food. They had no food. They had wiped out all the white man's food, and we had wiped out their food, and they had nothing to eat. And Mrs. Rowlandson, the captive for 11 weeks, were all the other natives and warriors were living on tree bark, moss, moccasins cooked to get the nutrition out of them and then chewed to death. Anything they could get, but they were starving. But there, back in Sudbury, they were another band of Indians. At one point, they were viewed from a distance to be, they had a count of 1,500 Native Americans were in Sudbury at this one point. But what they had done, from all indications, is that they had brought all their elders, their senior citizens, and their children, and their squaws, and they were in the middle of this large group of Native Americans. And to give you an impression that there's really 1,500, but there wasn't, there was only 700. The 700 Native Americans was enough to wipe out Sudbury, but they didn't do it. They lost that battle, in a sense, yet they actually won it. But they couldn't, they had no food, and they went back to camp in Lancaster. And this sword I brought, you see, it's 36 inches long, and it has beautiful wrought iron area where the hand is kept, and it's rusty, and it was found at this first battle back in 1960 by a person gardening in this area that was a bowl-shaped area back in 1676. Found. Oh, but by the way, it's been stolen. Thank you.
Oh, that's so sad.
Any of that makes sense?
Thanks. You just showed us out some theatrical improv. I love that.
Okay.
Some pantomime. So, any questions for Lee about the battle or Sudbury's history in that battle?
What has been learned about this sword?
Pardon?
What has been learned?
Well,
about this sword?
it belonged, it was okay. We had a well-meaning man in Sudbury who was a lawyer, he was a selectman, he was everything. And he knew a lot of history, so this woman who came to me a number of years ago said she lent him the sword to have it authenticated. And she never found it, never got it back. And she came to the Sudbury Historical Society trying to find out what happened to it, and we're still looking. But when John Powers died, this lawyer in Maine, everything, a lot of his material was given to the Historic Commission, who gave the stuff to the Historical Society, and there were 3 pictures of the sword, one of them with his hand holding it. And we've been told by various people it used to hang in his office. But possession is 9/10 of the law, and the family won't admit they have it.
Oh, that's awful.
The 60s. So I still say that there's stuff out there.
No, but it was found there, but when did you find that it was missing? That the sword was...
We never, I found it was missing when, confirmed when we found the pictures of the sword. It was always a myth, but as I've said for years, for every myth there is a reality. And that sword is still out there
So
somewhere.
that's recent, relatively
Yeah,
recently,
yeah.
yeah.
Within the last couple of years?
Well, it was in his possession,
Uh-huh.
so lost from his possession, you might say, but within the last 10 years.
The
20
woman
years.
who found it, when she went to have it authenticated to this guy, how
Yes.
long ago was that?
That was back in the 60s, she said.
In the 60s?
Yep. So, bye-bye.
That's so sad.
And that has happened so much. I don't know about other towns in Sudbury. We have many people who, well-meaning, took something, accepted it, no record of it. Like we have a cannonball that was found along the Knox Trail. Great. It's all oral history. It's verbal. There's no proof. And we don't even know the man that found it there, so it's not uncommon, yes.
You know where Water Roll is?
Yes.
How come there's a part there where there's an area where you can park, but you're not allowed to use metal detectors?
What about the metal detectors?
You're not allowed to use metal
You're not allowed
detectors
to.
because they're afraid of disturbing historical artifacts?
That's the Haynes Garrison site.
Yeah, okay.
The battle was 36 hours, right there,
Right there?
and I found a man down in the cellar hole, which they've cleaned up, which I told them not to, the Historic Commission, but they don't listen. And there was a man down below and a woman up above, both in their 70s, and they had different tools in their hand. And I came out of the woods with a friend, asked them what they were doing, and they said, "Oh, nothing." Well, he had a cannonball in his hand. I'm sorry, not a cannonball, a musket ball. And it's like, I said, "Where did you find that?" And he says, "Oh, I just carry that around for good luck."
Like most people.
Was
Was a major battle that's
Oh, and that's
documented.
why it's preserved, so that the artifacts will be removed from that site?
And what can be removed?
And that, so no artifacts will be removed from
I
that
hope
site?
nothing's removed.
So it's protected, that's great.
It's protected only by a sign. It's very difficult.
Mary has a question.
Yes.
Where is the Haynes Garrison?
Haynes Garrison is on Water Road, which is off of Route 27. So as you come down from Sudbury Center, you come down a hill, and there Water Row is on the left.
Like you pass Body Dog?
Oh no, this is 27. 20 is Route 20 is Buddy Dog.
Well, yeah, I was just following the other way.
Right. But we do have a sword scabbard and a horse pistol, meaning that a pistol that a man on a horseback would have. Remnants from the Walker Farm, which is up near Buddy Dog, and they've been authenticated, but they were found by Mr. Walker when he was plowing. So they're good, but there's lots more out there.
I think Neil had a question over here.
There's another reason why the Indians had to withdraw. You mentioned they were not able to take the garrisons. The garrisons were munitions, all the things that they were running out of.
Yep.
And because they couldn't capture the garrisons, they couldn't continue to fight and had to withdraw. So it's really a lot of quirk of fate that happened at that time that caused them to walk away from what was really a victory.
Right, right. And because they got, when they got to cross the river to Wayland, they attacked a palisaded area, a building, which was Reverend Brown's, one of our founding ministers and settlers, and attacked at him. And that building was right along a curve of the Sudbury River. And he had done a brilliant thing. He had built it so anyone coming from the water couldn't get around to the other side. And it's just, people were not dumb back then. I mean, he protected his, and along with the Brown garrison up near South Sudbury, that was built with a 15-foot, it was on the edge of a cliff with a 15-foot drop behind it. So they were protected, not protected from three sides, but one side they were.
It's a beautiful sword. I had it in my mind. So at this point right now, I highlight that, Judy, huh? I would like us to just, socialize with each other and talk and ask questions. I'm gonna get out some cookies. I have some coffee and some scones from Panera, so for a little snack. But I wanted to just mention the next leg of this. Of course, this was supposed to be the second meeting where we were gonna exchange work. I know Steve has his poem here, but we're gonna meet again in April and do the exchange. So people have time to now respond to tonight's talks. I'm talking about the artists and the poets now, and we'll try to get this video up on our website so people can respond that aren't here tonight. And then I will very soon, like this week, come up with a date. I'm going to book a few places. So April will be the next, April 15th is the deadline, which is, how long is that? Is that a month? Yeah. So you have a month now to get your artwork and your poetry in, if you haven't already. I have one submission from Steve. And Steve, do you interested in reading your poem?
Yeah, if you want to hear it.
Okay, so this will be our first submission. Steve wrote on the estate that from Shrewsbury that John Murphy came in. He had a painting already done that he had done about, it's the Artemas Ward estate in Shrewsbury. And I put you on the spot. You sure you're okay with this?
Yes.
Okay, and he wrote his poem, so I'm going to have him read his poem. How's that? Does anybody else bring their artwork or anything with them tonight, or poetry? Okay.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Do you want to do yours as well?
yeah.
Okay.
I'll read my poem when it's written.
All right, great. So we have another poem by Judy. Great.
Hello, everyone.
This is Steve Doyle.
Just a note, in his will, Ward's great-grandson gave the General Shrewsbury homestead to Harvard University with a bequest of more than $5 million, the income to be applied, among other things, to establish his reputation, too long neglected, as a devoted and faithful friend to his country. So my poem is Artemas Ward on the revocation of his commission. Artemas Ward of Shrewsbury Town, commissioned a colonel by the Crown, should the need arise to take up arms to protect homesteads, families, and farms. But then trouble brewed across the sea as King George squared off against his colony. In 1763, the Stamp Act was imposed. Taxation without representation. Ward was opposed. The colonel became a son of liberty, a firebrand sounding off against tyranny. The royal governor deemed him a dangerous man and thought it wise to revoke his command. He sent a rider to Shrewsbury Town, where upon the green Ward was found. The soldier delivered the dispatch and awaited a reply. Ward read it quickly, then held the letter high. Tell the governor I consider myself honored a second time, but even more in being superseded than in being commissioned. Ward's voice carried as the onlookers listened. And I thank him for this note, evidence plain to see, that I am what he is not, a friend to my country.
No, it's right here.
Okay. Hi, I'm Judy Faust. Okay, so I was very inspired by Evangeline, and I couldn't remember her last name, but anyway, I don't know, I just sat down and I thought, oh, wow. I let her kind of presence or something sift into me, and then I wrote this. It's called Before Me. I walk on this street, not knowing who has paved it. I enter buildings, not knowing who have made them. In Rousseau's market, I gaze towers of red, yellow, and orange peppers, rows of oranges, pomegranate, garlic, avocados, each table of produce boasting beauty, leaving me to ponder, who has slaved under the sun to pick my prize? I came into this world through the womb door, not knowing the cries of the mother, oblivious to her sweat and tears. I came shaking my baby fist, eyes asking for love, not knowing those who were to give it. As a young American woman, I protested the Vietnam War. In high school, I fought racism. On the part-time job, I fought sexism, not knowing those brave feet who had marched the streets decades before my time. Women like Evangeline, who created my yesterday and my today. The radio blasts urgent situations and choices bombard my ears. I could turn it off, not knowing what more I could have done.
Nice. So now we have the blend of history and literary art. Does anybody have any artwork with them tonight that they'd like to share, or we're not? Okay, that's all right. So the next phase of this is we are going to get together in April and share work. So you need to have all of your work in by April 15th. I hope that's enough time for you. And then probably the following week we'll get together and share. So we'll be exchanging poetry and art, and you'll be responding to those, which is another cool level to this. And we would love for all the historical groups to come back again, and just, we'll have some food and just talk and kind of share. And if the poets or artists have any more questions, they can ask at that point, because they'll be getting new pieces of work. And hopefully every town will be represented. That's why you fill out those forms, so I know what you're planning on doing. So tonight before you leave, I think we have the pink sheets that you filled out. If you have something new that you want to respond to, we need to have it on the sheet, so that we know. So I just want to get a feel for what towns are being represented and make sure that everybody gets represented. It's kind of an interesting, next year we'll have this down pat. Yes?
Can we do more than one piece?
Absolutely. I would encourage it.
What about something that combined multiple?
That's fine. Yeah, whatever moves you, whatever inspires you is what we're looking for. So, and then after that, we will, when all the work is done, we'll get together again, and that will be in May, late May, and then we will sort of we'll have another get together. Hopefully you can come or send a rep from your organization, and we will. I would like to include some music at that point, so I will talk to my music friends. And by the way, singers are musicians. I just want to say that for my husband, Paul. I sent out a constant contact about our musical performing groups, and somebody in the office put musicians and singers. And my husband reminds me that singers are musicians. So I'm sorry, I'm publicly apologizing to my husband for that faux pas.
I've been fighting that cause.
I know, I'm so sorry. He's a singer, obviously, and a musician.
And an instrumentalist.
And an instrumentalist, yes. So, so we would like to, sort of that last meeting will be a meeting that's sort of a dress rehearsal for an exhibit opening, and we'll talk about how that's going to work as we go along. I will take any suggestions or thoughts that you have, like, Marjorie mentioned having some sound tonight, which helped with Judy's filming as well, so that was a nice little addition. Where are we going to meet the next time? Depends on where I can find space. I do like meeting at the Hudson Town Hall because it has that old-time historical feel to it. But if you want us to meet in your town, at a space that you know of, that would be great as well. I'm going to encourage you to take some, we have a couple of events coming up. We're doing the play Blithe Spirit in honor of our ghost spirits and past lives in April. If you're a member of the Arts Alliance, we're having a wine tasting on the opening night. Vin is actually sponsoring it for us from Marlborough, so we'd love to have you come. We also have, if you have children or grandchildren, we have our summer drama workshop, registration open, all the shows are over there. There's also there's a blue and green flyer there, the Metro West. The Metro West Visitors Bureau is an amazing new organization if you haven't heard of it, and they're trying very hard to get people to come out to the Metro West and see what we have here. We have an ad in there, and we're trying to get more involved with them, to bring people, don't always have to go to Boston, we have a lot of stuff out here, so come on out this way. We also have volunteer opportunities, membership stuff. Of course, we're going to bring our flyers. We have a newsletter, so if you want to hear what's going on around, and if you have anything to add to the newsletter for the next time, let us know. It's quarterly. And I think that's it.